Hey, my name is Matt Fleischer. Welcome back to the channel. And today we are talking about Claude for OPUS. I finally paid for the paid tier. We're going to try it out for a month, see how it goes. And I started having a really interesting conversation with it this morning. And I wanted to share with you guys some of the things that I found out. Now, if you've been paying attention to Google search and the way that things are changing with AI, you'll know that Google is trying to stay ahead of the game because people are using ChatGPT and other AI tools a lot more for their web searches. So this is actually a really big deal for them because if they want to stay ahead of the game, they need a method of keeping you within their platform. So I started talking to OPUS, just started spitballing some ideas, and I asked it to analyze the current situation. And what I want to do in this video is we're going to talk a little bit about this, and then we're going to take a look at the top results that come up in the AI mode. Hey, it's Matt from the future, and while editing this, I forgot to mention that we're going to dive into the domain aspect of this. It is super important that you watch this through to the end because there's a massive aha moment. So we're trying to figure out what it is that AI is trying to show people, and then we're going to try to put that in front of the right people, in front of the right audience, and try to get you that traffic. Now, I can speak from experience that when I watch my analytics on my websites, that I am starting to get some AI traffic. I'm seeing traffic from ChatGPT and different new AIs that I had never heard of before. So this is something that's definitely happening, and it's something definitely you want to pay attention to. I started with analyze the current situation with Google AI overviews and the use of ChatGPT and other AI tools for web search, and tell me what types of searches is primarily used for. For example, I know AI overviews are good for simple questions, but if someone is looking for help replacing a radiator on a Ford Escape, they might need a forum of some kind where the answer may lay. And this is really key because the information that is showing up in Google for the AI overviews tends to be more of the informational stuff. So like the low-hanging fruit. If you're looking at like the best AI chatbot, it triggered the AI overview to come up. But if I were to put in something like this is a little bit different, so we're not getting the AI overview anymore. Now we're kind of getting those featured snippets, which we've been seeing over the last few years. It did a whole bunch of research, which I was very impressed by. And it says that the current state of AI overviews, 13% of all searches are coming back with the AI overview. So that's a huge bump from last year. The types of overview. So 88% triggered queries that were informational. So what is BMR? I have no idea what that is. While commercial and navigational queries are less common, the healthcare sector had the highest AI overviews at 63%. Now that's interesting because healthcare and health stuff is quite sensitive. So I wonder if they're going to adjust for that as well. While B2B tech boasts the second highest AI overviews at 32%, followed by e-commerce at 23% and insurance at 18%. So insurance queries, which actually garners quite a lot of money, if you think about it from the ad perspective, that is how Google's running. Google runs on ad dollars. So right now, like what is BMR? We're not seeing any ads come up. Nobody's paying for an ad. House insurance rate, New York. We're going to see the AI overviews, fine, but we're going to see ads, like a lot of ads, and even some ads down below here. But if we were to go into the keyword planner, we could see what people are bidding for these ads. So house insurance rate, let's just put that in the generic term, and we'll see that the bid prices on these are quite high. So this is a per click advertising spend, right? So home insurance quotes, there's quite a lot of searches for it. $73 a click, low range, $25 a click. This is big money. This is big money to Google. Can you imagine making $200 because somebody clicked your link? So Google's raking in the dollars and they need to protect their bottom line, which is kind of key in this whole conversation because they need to, more than anything, start filling this AI overview with sponsored links of some kind. So either on the side here, or they need to start embedding it within the text itself. but they also need to do it in a really sensitive way because they need to give you the best information possible so that you keep using their platform. So give me some key takeaways, okay? It said that we're moving into a realm of different tools for different needs. So Google AI overviews, that's something that's new. ChatGPT, Perplexity, which is more of like a search-based AI system, and traditional search and forums, and that we're kind of seeing this fragmentation of search. So regarding your key takeaways, is it smart to say that it used to be one tool for everything, Google, Bing, and now we're seeing a fragmentation of the search market, and we're going into more specialized tools. But with that comes new opportunities. Fragmentation can also have its downsides. Users now need to know which tool to use and when. Now, if you've been overwhelmed by the AI news that's coming out, there's a new tool for everything every 5 minutes. It's kind of head spinning of trying to figure out like what is what and what tool to use for what stuff. I mean, I even go through that myself. Discovery challenges, information might be siloed in specific platforms. So in the case of house insurance rates, we're seeing a very limited amount of results here, and we can't see what these actual links are to. So for all we know, they're all the same. They all go to the same place. Or in the case of the best AI chatbot, what I noticed was, I think we had Zapier. Yeah, we had Zapier twice, and we had Tech Republic twice, which I thought was interesting because that shows that they're going for a higher authority site. And that's why domaining and having a strong web domain is going to be really important in this new AI world. Because if you have a strong website that has the authority behind it, then you're going to still do well in the results because it's going to actually pull you in to these AI overviews. If you remember at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I started to get traffic from the different AI platforms, ChatGPT, etc. And that's because my site has the authority behind it. It's not just the amount of backlinks that are going to it. It's that my site actually provides good, valuable data, and people come to it a lot, and they spend a lot of time on the site. And for that reason, amongst other reasons, it's showing up in the results at the top. So now I asked it, if you were to look into the future and see how all of this plays out, do you think that people might not be happy with all the fragmentation and revert back to a single solution? And if so, what might that solution look like? Now, I'm trying to think way ahead here where people get so frustrated by the fragmentation where they have 50,000 apps and they need a subscription to all these different services. I think at some point that will kind of run its course and people will start consolidating back down into a couple of platforms. And I think we started seeing that with streaming as well, where people started moving towards cable cutting, cord cutting, and moving to Netflix. And then all of a sudden there was HBO Max, and then Sling, and Amazon Prime, and then all the different channels themselves have their own streaming platforms, and then Paramount Plus. And it's like, how many different ways do I need to do what I got to do to watch the shows that I want to watch or the movies? I might as well just buy cable again, pay one bill, and I get everything. So it's kind of interesting how that plays out. Now, I'm not saying that cable's coming back, but I am drawn to getting cable once again. So what a unified solution might look like, and I think this was really interesting. I thought Opus did a really good job with this. It's saying that there's an AI meta layer. So rather than a return to traditional search, it's using an intelligent router model, which means that it needs to understand the search intent, absolutely key. It knows when you need forums versus quick facts versus deep research, and then it routes that intelligently, and it's going to seamlessly pull from all these different things, and it's going to maintain the context, and it's going to unify the experience. Now, what I observe with this is that we are seeing a reduction in clicks to the individual websites. Now, people are freaking out because SEO and search is changing, because why go to the website if the AI overview is going to give you that information? But I think it's really important that we still know how to show up in the top results so that you're actually included in the AI overview. And then also the specifics of the thing that it is that you're providing, whatever that information is, it needs to be detailed and helpful stuff, because that is what's going to cut through the AI overview. Instead of giving a generic response, there isn't one universally best AI chatbot as the ideal choice. Well, maybe if your tool were to show up here because it is the tool for finding movie titles, let's just say that we switched around our search here, then that changes things. And then that you could still cut through to the top and you could still get that click. So I think it's a reorganization of how search works. It needs to maintain context and remember your previous search queries, and it needs to unify the experience. So who might build this? Google. And they're kind of already doing that with AI mode in Gemini. And I'll show you guys AI mode here. If you haven't tried it, it is interesting. You just click here and it's going to search like 50 to 100 different sites and come back with the information. So it's organized. Let's do a side by side. It's organized similarly to the AI overview. You do have to drop this down to get the information, but we see it gives you the generic stuff, different links. It's not naming what the links are. And then over here on the side, it's giving you really like the top 3 results and then ads. If we go in here to the AI mode, it's similar. Gives you the overview. It gives you less links, which is very concerning for some people. Got some links down here at the bottom. Look at that. You have to scroll to get to the first one. And let's just see what it is. Okay, so it pops it open and then it gives you the different sites that it's actually pulling the information from, which is interesting. So it's doing a lot more opaque stuff, which I don't love. It's kind of like that AI meta layer is basically putting a middleman between you and the information. Instead of directly taking you to the website, it's putting in this like interpretation layer, which I think is kind of, it's understandable because that's where the tech is going, but it's also a little concerning because it's removing the actual hard truth of the answer and it's replacing it with a summary. So now that we talked about how AI is changing, I want to talk to you guys about domains, because what I was trying to show before was that when you come up in these results here, it's the powerful sites that actually show up at the top. So if you buy a domain, you have your own website, and let's just say you hand register, you type in houseinsuranceratenewyork.com, is there a chance that you're actually going to show up here in the results? And for some things, the answer is yes. I find that to be true more for tools and stuff because that's useful things. But for informational stuff like this, it's going to be really difficult for you to show up. And I can show you that by, let's actually pull up this result here. Let's see what it looks like in Ahrefs. It's getting about 450 people a month. Keywords 700. Let's see what it actually ranks for. Now, if you look here at the KD, this is the keyword density, it's ranking high for difficult stuff for the most part, right? Factors that affect homeowners insurance premiums, what affects it, cost for, all kinds of things like that. We're showing up in the first spot, second, first, we're showing up really well for this stuff. So this is a high ranking site because it's a powerful website. So if you want to do well in the future of the AI overviews, I think you're going to need a powerful site to do it. And if you remember at the beginning of this video, I had mentioned that I am starting to see traffic from ChatGPT and other AI tools where the AI is finding my site and sending people my way. And I think that has to do with the power of my site. It's an authority site. It gets traffic from regular search. People stay on the site for a long time. I know because I watch the analytics of it. I know that people are on the site between 2 minutes and 2 hours. It depends on what they're reading. So if you have a powerful site, then all of a sudden things change and you can start showing up at the top. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the domaining aspect of this because I think it's really important to understand. So let's talk a little bit about dead domains and how that works, because I want you to understand that you can get your hands on these domains yourself. And that's the key thing, because you can hand register a domain and you can literally just type in yourname.com and start putting up good stuff. But the problem with doing it that way is it takes a really long time for you to build an authority site. It might be a year, 2 years, 5 years of hard work putting in to get the traction that you need to start earning money with your site. If you run a local business, it's a little bit different, because let's say you run a plumbing business, then you're putting your services up, you're putting, basic pages up, and you have a much higher chance of actually showing up because people are going to naturally link to you in Reddit and Google reviews and Yelp reviews and stuff like that. It's going to tell Google to push you up to the top. But when you're doing any other kind of business online, you want to start looking into expired and dead domains, because this is kind of like the graveyard of the internet. And how that works is, if I register a website, and let's say I own that website for 30 years, and I decide one day to retire, and I let it expire, because every year you need to pay your $10 to $20 fee to renew it. And let's say I let it expire. Well, it goes to this auction site, which I'll show you right here. This is a tool called Spamzilla. I use it from time to time. And what it does is it collects where this is the graveyard. And these are actual auction items. So these are on GoDaddy auctions right now. Just as if you were on eBay, you can bid on these websites. Now, there's good sites and bad sites within this mix, and you need to understand that there is a difference. You can spend a lot of money on a very expensive site, and it could be utter trash. The key is doing the research on the site, making sure that it's actually a good website that's worth owning. And then what you do is you actually rebuild the site. So let's say you win the auction. Your goal would be to rebuild the website as it was, which means understanding what it used to show up for in Google, rebuilding those pages, getting those rankings back, and then building on top of that and monetizing the site for yourself. So it's like buying a closed gas station, and then you just literally move in, put some gas in the tank, and start selling your own gas. That's kind of what we're talking about here. So Spamzilla is one site. There's another site called expireddomains.net. And this is literally the actual graveyard of the internet, because they just have so much stuff. Let's just do salon. Let's see if anything comes up for a salon. So this is like every iteration of a website that somebody's registered in the past. And a lot of these sites have nothing to them, which means that somebody made the site, did nothing with it, let it expire, and it holds zero value. And that's really important, because some of these sites will go for, let's see, I'll just check this one here. Let's see it on Namecheap. This one's going for $20. You can buy that domain right now. But if we were to actually check it in my tool, doesn't rank for anything. And it literally has nothing to it. So this is just a name that you would be buying. Now, that name might mean a lot to you. Maybe you run a company that's called Salon CX. And in that case, the $20, yeah, you'd buy that domain and you would start building stuff on it, etc. So there's value in the name. And then there's something called value within the domain itself. So I found this website called wiseguides.com, which I thought was interesting. And current bid, it's bidding for $255. The estimated value, this is GoDaddy's estimate, is $4,400. But the key thing to understand about this business is this website is not worth anything until you understand how to monetize it and how to actually make it work. Because if you don't know how to make this work, you could spend the $300 or the $4,400. You can end up with a domain that you can't do anything with. And then all of a sudden, you're out that money and you hate the industry because you didn't do it right. So let's take a look here. I'll show you guys Wise Guides in the keyword tool. Now, it's not the best domain, but I thought it was interesting because it actually used to show up for some stuff. It used to have a little traffic. Now, is it a banger? Like, did it do really, really well? No, I don't think it ever did. Actually, if I go back 6 months, so it ranked for 172 keywords. Okay, whatever. Now, Wise Guides, people are looking for that per month. So it ranked for itself. It ranked for EA exam prep. And it only showed up in position 31. So this isn't, you can see here in the other positions, it didn't do great. So I would be cautious on buying this site unless I had a really good plan to make it work. So we can see here like EA study material PDF. People are looking for a practice test. And if you're not familiar, I had to look this up, but an EA is an enrolled agent, which is basically tax stuff. So if I were buying this site, how would I monetize it? Well, I think it would take a lot of effort to think about it. If I owned the EA course company, this might be a no-brainer to buy it because then I could just put content on it and send people to my school, and that's it. The advertising dollars, so this is the CPC, cost per click, for each keyword, is kind of low. So we're looking at like $1 a click. Not super high, not really impressed with that. I think I would look for some kind of an affiliate program if it exists. And you can try to start flipping people into another market. So what you could do is you could build this site back. And what I mean by that is you can see here the slug. So this is the old URL. So if I go to this URL, it's not going to show up for, it's not, yeah, like it just loads a blank page. But if we were to go into Google, let's search this, for example. So Wise Guides EA review, it says it still shows up in position 1. wiseguides.com. So it does. So even though this website is now non-existent, it shows up in Google. And that is the difference between a website that's worth something and a website that's not worth anything at all. Because there's a lot of sites out there that show up in the results. Like, look here. They show up here, 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 here. So 4 times on the front page of Google. And they were selling some kind of packet for $350, which is interesting. But the site doesn't actually work because somebody let it go. So that is basics of domaining. And that is going to wrap it up for this video. Because I think if you understand where AI search is going and where domains come into play and the authority of these different sites and how all that works, owning the powerful domain, showing up in the actual AI overview is going to be key moving forward. So if you want to learn more about this stuff, join my mailing list, mattmakesmoney.com. I'm going to send you the show notes from today's episode, and I'm going to start sending you some really good stuff. So make sure you go to mattmakesmoney.com, opt in, and I'll catch you on the next video.